Hey guys, it's Boosty. I'm going to keep this one kind of brief. After our last track day at GLD, we were getting some ticking noise under the hood of the car. I was thinking it was valve train noise, but pretty easily I was able to go through some stuff and diagnose it. In the end of the day, it looks like it was one of the Feldpro gaskets had failed. I'll give you a clip of what it sounded like, kind of what I went through in diagnosing it, and we'll see. So you can kind of hear in that last video there, there was definitely a louder ticking noise coming from the driver's side versus the passenger side. What I'm doing here is just pulling the valve covers off just to see if the noise got louder with the cover off. This would be a real quick way just to see if everything's mechanically still intact and okay, and then obviously dig a little bit deeper into what we found. But ultimately, this ended up being an exhaust manifold gasket, which we'll have some pictures here just showing of what the failure is. But I'm really glad it's nothing serious. Alright, so here we got the valve cover off, coils are hooked up, basically in a way that we could run the engine safely with the valve cover off just to see if the noise got louder or not. Pretty easy diagnostic here. If the noise gets louder or something obvious, it would be a lot easier to see in this configuration, and then obviously could rule some stuff out. Alright guys, so pulled the valve cover, ran it for a little bit. Noise didn't get louder, surprisingly. I don't see anything out of the usual. All the rockers and stuff are tight, no broken valve springs, anything goofy, which I was hoping not for, as this tick was kind of minor. So little background is there are Feldpro gaskets on here. There's controversy between MLS style and Feldpro. On my Cobra, I had some good luck with the graphite style, so that's why I went this route. Unfortunately, as I'll show in a second here, it looks like even though there's not soot on the top, I did locate some soot underneath, which kind of indicated an exhaust leak on this car. So this is a picture that I snapped when I was laying under the car. You could see some of the soot coming out from underneath. It's the rear cylinder, which is closest to the firewall, so it makes sense with the noise. Pardon the dirtiness. This is a stock bottom end engine, so it's a little bit used. But obviously this is a pretty good indication that at some point exhaust has been getting leaked out here, and next step is to pull the exhaust manifold. Once I got the exhaust gasket out, obviously no surprise, there's soot showing that the exhaust was leaking. We ran 20 pounds of boost through the last pass, which is the most I've put through the motor, and obviously it wasn't super happy. You can see in this last picture here that there were spots where it was completely just the graphite material was gone. So I ordered up some MLS gaskets, which came in real quick, and normally I would go with GM gaskets just off the bat because I'm a big fan of OEM stuff, but Mahle had some gaskets that you can get off Amazon, which were next day, and it was the weekend, so I went with these. I threw them in, and luckily when I got everything torqued back down, it seemed to clear the noise up. So I'll put a comparison video up here next just so you can hear. Obviously it's quieted down, but I was happy to know that it wasn't any sort of engine issue. The last thing I'd highly recommend is run some aftermarket bolts for your manifolds, because the stock ones like to break in the heads, and these have been on and off a few times now with no issue, so definitely worth the investment. Pardon the extremely dirty engine bay. Obviously I've been thrashing on this thing ever since I brought it back from the track, but seems like the noise cleared up. I've had good luck using graphite gaskets in the past on other cars. Cobra over there has got a set of Remflex. guess the Feldpros just weren't gonna do the trick on this turbo setup. So we'll give these MLS ones a try, and hopefully we have good luck from here. Just happy to know that the engine isn't hurt. So anybody in the future, obviously, I guess beware running a graphite style gasket on a turbo car. Couple quick things to note that weren't really recorded in the videos. I did check the push rods, I checked the rocker torques, and a couple other various things, but obviously just getting underneath the car and looking was able to identify that there obviously was some sort of exhaust coming past the gasket. Thanks for watching. I'll put a link in the description of the gaskets that I ordered. I would definitely go with the GM ones over what I purchased, but they were accessible very quickly. Shortly we're going to be putting the 26s back on the car and testing for MKE, and we'll definitely keep on trucking here. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.